got one bill that we're going to vote on, and the others are going to be hearings only, and hopefully we can maybe bring them back and vote before the end of the session. Is everybody happy? Yep, they look all happy. Senator Settle, you mind praying for us? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
10. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord God, you're the giver of all good things. We thank you for all your blessings. Pray that we would be faithful, Lord God, to the calling you've given us to public service. Give us wisdom, give us humility, and let's glorify you in all that we do. We pray this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Our first bill is a carryover bill from Monday, I guess it was. It seemed like last week sometime. A carryover bill from Monday, Senator Kemp's bill, Senate Bill 475, LC 2492717S.
That's right.
Is that correct, sir?
That's right.
Okay,
yes,
sir.
Chairman.
Without going through everything we went through the other day, is there any changes in this bill other than after what you discussed with us, with the committee the other day?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. There have been no changes, so this is the same bill that was presented yesterday. So happy to take any questions if we need to.
Okay. Any questions of the author? I see no hands. Do I have a motion on the bill?
Move to pass, Mr. Chair.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. Senator Sims?
No, it was
Oh, I'm
Halpern.
sorry. Senator Halpern? 14? 12, I'm sorry.
Yeah. At the appropriate time, I would like to offer a small amendment to section 4. And Ledge Council may have to help me with this, but the one thing that I wanted to do was narrow the scope of the
Oh, yeah.
facilities.
You mentioned that the other day.
Yeah, so I want to add in a piece here. Actually, they answered my question about the locally authorized chartered, so I'm good on that. But I wanted to add in something here to limit it to the facilities owned by the system. So that if it's a charter school in its own private building, that the school would not necessarily have to do the E-Plus dollars there. But of course, if the school owns the building in which the school is located, it is the responsibility of the school district and system to take care of that facility. So that would just be the little bit of narrowing I would want to do, and somebody could fancify exactly how to phrase that amendment, but limited to the facilities owned by the system
I'm fine
Senator
with that.
Kemp, your comments?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
in section 4.
Michael, we need some help on that.
He's working as fast as he can.
I know it. He's amazing.
Super.
That's great. That's what a bitch they say. So what we do is,
Just us.
yes. Yes, sir.
I was just going to make a comment while Michael's working, if that's okay, on the
Yeah, please,
motion.
please.
I was just meeting with the good legal counsel from Pro Tem Walker's office, and I'd kind of proffered an idea that I think, Senator Kemp, as you're moving through the process, may be worth considering on the portion of the bill that you're carrying as the Pro Tem's floor leader. Moving from 25 to 10% statewide, I know that when another member of the committee was here, he expressed some concern about that, for doing that statewide. As this moves through the process, it may be worth considering putting triggers into place that would allow that to happen at 10%. So I know that there's school systems where you might need to move quicker. It might need to be a lower threshold. Perhaps there's a school system somewhere that's been having some financial issues, and perhaps we could put language in as this goes through the process that certain conditions would trigger 10%. And it may help relieve the anxiety of those members who are concerned that this would lower the threshold to kind of dissolve any city school that's currently in their district. And I think Senator Beard, you and I were kind of talking through some of that. So just an idea that I had that may help alleviate some of that anxiety.
Senator Walker. Oh, Pro Tem Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to join your committee today,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
and I appreciate y'all's diligence on this matter and your hard work on it. First, I'll say that getting a petition of 10% of the registered voters is a pretty monumental task. It's not easy to do.
Right.
And then secondly, I'll say it's just to allow a ballot referendum then on the school board. It doesn't dissolve the school board. It doesn't remove the school board. I'm sure y'all have covered that already.
Yes, sir.
I think that school districts need to be held to the highest level of accountability. And I think most of the people on this committee, probably all the people on this committee, agree. And we need school board members to take their responsibility, their fiscal responsibility, their responsibility for educating the children very, very, very seriously, and not rubber stamp what's brought to them by school superintendents or administration. They need to dig into it and be vetted out like we do through our process, like this bill is being vetted very thoroughly. And I think given the local electorate, the people that are paying the bills, and need to have an opportunity to put on the ballot to remove a school board if they're mismanaging the system. So I would strongly ask for favorable consideration of the amendment, and lowering that threshold to 10%. Is still very hard to get a petition with 10% of the registered voters. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Michael, are you ready?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would actually recommend just inserting on line 63 after Georgia, 4 properties owned by the local school system.
Any discussion? Oh, Senator Halpern, does that meet your? It does, okay. Any discussion on that wording? Senator Settler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I'm interpreting the lady's amendment to address the issue of not wanting to have public tax dollars go to a privately held property that could then be foreclosed upon, and you're taking public dollars and reapplying them. I wonder if the sort of a parallel way to achieve that objective is to say that the dollars could be applied. I think what you're contemplating, if there's property that's held by the county that's used by the charter school, dollars could be spent there. What if there were dollars being spent for something that's not currently held by the county, but would be procured, built upon, and then held by the county for a new property? I don't know if you're looking to exclude the possibility of new, for example, if $5 million came down from a SPLOST to help build a facility for a charter school, as long as that land was held by the county, do you want to preclude the new purchase and new develop of new land for use by the charter school? Or do you want it to be limited to only existing property owned by the county school system? Because as I understand the amendment, it'd be limited to only existing property held by the existing school system.
I don't know that I'm saying existing, because it's broad enough to just say if it's owned at any point at which it's owned by that school system.
Okay.
So not necessarily the county, right? So I'm thinking about Atlanta Public Schools, for example, that has, in my district, I've got 12 locally chartered schools that are part of the Atlanta Public School System. The ones that are actually in APS-owned buildings, APS should be reinvesting dollars back into the facility that they owned. It's real estate that's part of their asset base.
Correct.
So they should be making improvements on that, which also then benefit that charter school that's housed there. So I'm not precluding I'm not trying to say only what they own today, but just if it's owned by the school system, then it should. And there are different contractual agreements in place also for charters based on the facilities piece. So I'm not even trying to wade into that so much as just to say, if we are gonna say that East Bluff's dollars and projects, that we need to be inclusive of the local charter schools, which are at that point really part of that local school system, then it makes sense to me that, you know, narrowing that to buildings and facilities that the school system already owns makes sense, because it's a reinvestment back into their own assets.
Right. So I don't disagree with your underlying premise that we shouldn't be spending tax dollars on something that's privately owned. I guess what I'm asking is, should we expand that? Your amendment contemplates putting dollars into facilities that are currently owned, like a renovation. What I'm wanting to make sure we would include perhaps is if SPLOST dollars were spent to something that would be owned by the school system, like a new building, new land. Again, a $5 million expansion. They acquire some property nearby. They build a school on it for purposes of the charter. It'd be owned by the school system. But as you drew the amendment, as council drew the amendment, I think it only would be limited to property that currently belongs to the school system. Shouldn't we also include property that would be owned by the school system?
Yeah.
Hearing the conversation develop, I would just offer some alternatives. So in lieu of the previous proposed amendment language, again, at the end of line 63, perhaps this covers the discussion. Provided, however, that the local school system shall have no obligation to expend proceeds of such sales tax for the purchase or improvement of property or facilities owned by a local charter school or any entity other than the local school system.
That probably does it, but
Yes, sir.
can you, yes. Can you,
Because you have a charter school that's in their own privately owned building they're leasing, that's a dog, they may want to move to a new building that's owned by the school system.
Let's move on.
Do you need me to repeat that?
I think number
I'm
6.
I'm so sure we're gonna need you to repeat that.
Yes, sir. You got the floor.
Yes.
This may be a dumb question, but help me understand. There are some school districts, at least, I know there's at least one, where the city spans 2 different counties. So like Beaufort, for example. If Beaufort owns a charter school, if there's a charter school inside the city limits of Beaufort, we're talking about 2 county school systems. How would this section apply in that case when you've got 2 counties that technically both have parts of the city district where the charter school is, and we're talking about making sure tax dollars are going to those charter schools in equal proportion, and I may be using the wrong words, as other buildings within that school system. Do we need to address that hybrid situation, or has that been contemplated?
No, so for a locally approved, they only have the authorizer of that local school system. So it's either the county or the city school system. So the school system of which they are authorized by would be responsible for ensuring that they are not treating them any less favorably than the traditional schools in their district. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay. So the sales tax for educational purposes, I'm sorry, that can be levied on the city level as well, not just the county level?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
that's right.
Thank you. We have a motion on the amendment,
You need a second.
don't you have? Yeah. Senator Halp. Okay.
And the amendment will say,
At the end of line 63, after the word Georgia, insert the following, semicolon, provided, comma, however, comma, that the local school system shall have no obligation to expend proceeds of such sales tax for the purchase or improvement of property or facilities owned by a local charter school or any entity other than the local school system.
I know, right?
Senator,
I got a lot of
Senator,
face.
is that your amendment? Senator Halpern, is that your
That
amendment?
is the amendment.
Do I have a second on amendment? Senator Settler, Second. Any discussion on the amendment? I see none. All in favor of the amendment, raise your hand. Right hand. Okay, everybody for it. Thank you. Now, let's put the amendment in the bill, and do I have a motion on the bill? That is... Oh, we are, okay, so, well, yeah, okay, so we've already got a motion on the bill and a second on the bill, okay? So all in favor of the bill with the amendment, raise your right hand. All in favor? You've done it again, man.
There we go.
It was one,
Oh, we have one.
two.
Oh, okay,
two-
shit,
two
two.
nays.
Two, okay. Okay, so we had two noes and all yeses, the rest of them yeses, okay. Hey, you know I like you, don't you? Okay. I'm not actually talking about Senator Dozal. Okay, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for working hard on that. We're gonna move now into some hearing onlys, and so we got some beautiful ladies and one gentleman. So we're gonna start out with the ladies first. Senator Anderson.
The most beautiful lady, Anderson.
Well, that's what I said,
There's
wasn't it?
another Anderson, but he is not.
Well, we're not talking about. Never mind. Please tell us the bill number, LCC number, your full name,
Thank you,
and
Mr.
go
Chairman.
forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am Senator Tanya Anderson, and I am presenting Senate Bill 519 using the substitute LC 610417S.
Yes, ma'am. Your turn.
All right, thank you. So thank you for allowing me to present this bill. Senate Bill 519 is a workforce stabilization and professionalism bill for Georgia educators. It addresses teacher retention, workplace conditions, and clarity in employment practices, all critical to improving student outcomes. This is a practical, targeted update to existing law, not a structural overhaul. This is about student success. The first thing Senate Bill 519 does is it strengthens teacher evaluations, requires training, designated evaluators for all school employees, requires trained designated evaluators for all school employees. It ensures objectivity and professionalism by prohibiting peer-to-peer evaluations within the same school. It protects employee privacy. Evaluation records remain confidential, and data can be shared in aggregate, but not personally identifiable. It allows educators to opt in to share their performance data, supporting career mobility. Now, why does this matter? It matters because it builds trust in the evaluation system. It reduces bias and inconsistency, and it aligns evaluation with professional standards. The other thing this bill does, it creates contract transparency and timeliness. It requires school systems to issue complete contracts by May 15th. Contracts must include salary, assignment, all terms with no blanks or placeholders. It eliminates vague letters of intent as substitutes for real contracts. It ensures educators receive written explanations for non-renewal upon request. Now, why does this matter? It matters because it provides certainty and respect for educators as professionals. It helps districts compete in a tight teacher labor market. It also prevents late or unclear hiring practices that drive attrition. The next thing it addresses is basic working conditions, something as simple as a restroom break. It guarantees teachers at least 2 planned restroom breaks per day. One break may coincide with a planning period. Why does this matter? It addresses a real and widely reported workplace issue. It supports health, dignity, and basic working conditions, particularly important for elementary teachers, pregnant educators, and long instructional blocks. I served as a principal for a day at one of my local schools, and oh my gosh, this is hard work. The next thing that this bill allows for is role-specific professional development. It requires training to be aligned with an educator's actual role, and it emphasizes evidence-based practices addressing needs identified in evaluations. Why does this matter, Senator Payne? It matters because it moves away from one-size-fits-all training and increases the return on investment on professional development. It directly ties training to classroom effectiveness. Next, it creates school bus safety and driver support. It requires bus drivers to acknowledge safety policies annually, ensures updated policies are redistributed and acknowledged, and it allows drivers to request a bus monitor for behavior concerns. This matters because it improves student safety and discipline on buses. It provides support for drivers as this is a high turnover position. It creates accountability and documentation for safety procedures. Lastly, this creates balanced local control approach. It maintains local district authority while setting clear minimum standards. It does not impose new testing, mandates, or unfunded programs, but it focuses on clarity, consistency, and employee support. As a summary of this bill, teacher retention is one of Georgia's most urgent education challenges. Senate Bill 519 addresses real day-to-day issues educators face, which is unclear contracts, inconsistent evaluations, and a lack of workplace accommodations. Understand that these common sense bipartisan improvements support educators, it strengthens school systems, and ultimately improves student outcomes. Senate Bill 519 respects educators as professionals, improves working conditions, and strengthens the systems that support student success. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will take any questions. Because
Any questions from the members? Tell me why this bill is important to you.
as I stated, I stated before that I have served at one of my schools as a principal for a day and a teacher for a day in different counties. Students need so much, but the teachers need just as much. They are juggling a lot when it comes to classrooms, classroom sizes, the expectation of them to perform and achieve what the state school board of education is requiring of them. So to have that support from the legislature would keep them from having to, based on classroom sizes, would keep them from having to try to juggle one portion of the classroom without a clear contract. It just can be a lot of a melting pot in the classroom, and it takes away the attention to accurately teach a subject or topic, and then it keeps them from having to take work home, do work on the weekends, burn out, just turnover. And so this is important so that Georgia can get off the bottom of the list of something and move to the top.
Good. Thank you, ma'am. Great explanation. Thank you so much for your passion.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And educators are in my family, so.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am. We're going to let Representative Bazemore
Okay.
come forward.
Well,
And,
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being here.
Sure.
Good job.
Yeah, great job. Great job.
Thank you, colleagues.
Now, one thing that Representative Bazemore is going to tell.
One question for me?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
No, ma'am. I'm sorry. One thing Representative Bazemore is going to tell all of us, is that she is so happy that the House passed the massive literacy bill today,
Yes.
and I think we only had 2 no votes on it. No votes on it, and according to Chairman Irwin, this is the largest education bill since lottery.
Yes. He just said 92.
Yeah, and so I think we very hit. The House and Senate worked very closely on this bill, many hours, many hours, and many meetings. And we hope to get it over here early part of next week and spend a full committee meeting just on the literacy bill. Yes, so Representative Bazemore, if you would, please, it's your floor.
Last time I was here, I just held the book up, but I want to pass it out so you all can look at it to see exactly what I'm talking about when I explain this bill to you. So, as I'm saying, you've heard this before. It is a little lighter than it was when it came over the first time. It's not as top heavy. This is HB. First of all, thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Chair
ma'am.
and
Thank you.
committee. This is HB 200, LC number LC 610408S. And thank you for allowing me to present this bill to you. Those that heard it last year, you might remember, while I was presenting, this bill, it establishes a 3-year pilot immersive writing program for elementary schools in Georgia. The program is designed to improve literacy outcomes for students in grades 2 through 5. Structured, standards, aligned writing experiences. So this is exactly what we've been talking about this whole session, literacy and allowing our children to start reading and writing at an early age. The pilot program aims to improve literacy skills in elementary students, increase student engagement and motivation in writing, provide immersive writing-focused learning experiences, study and evaluate the impact of immersive writing instruction. I'm going to stop for a minute because if you see the book, that book, the title says A Different Kind of Hero. That book was written by an 11-year-old child. And it was illustrated, the person that illustrated had to imagine what the person writing it was actually seeing in her mind, how she wanted it to look. And that young lady that did illustrate it was my granddaughter. And her name's Brooklyn Bazemore, and if you look at the book, she is on that book. They took a chance because that is her gift of illustrating and drawing, and so she drew what that writer was envisioning when she wrote that book. And what's so good about this program is the fact that kids are not given an assignment. They want to do this. Because if I tell you that I need you to write me a book on elephants, and that is not what you're interested in, but this is what this young lady was interested in. And I think if you remember from last year, this book is now on Amazon. And guess who gets the proceeds? The 11-year-old. Well, she's not 11 years old now, but she gets all the money every time that book is purchased. So what are we doing now? We're creating entrepreneurs. So that's why I'm so excited about this program and allowing all of our students. The person that I met was Stan Tucker over at Trilith, and he was doing a presentation. And this is what motivated me to get this bill on the floor and to introduce it. Because I believe he goes all over the different states. Why aren't we using this program in our state for our children? He has already helped over 200 students achieve a book, write a book, and get it published. And I'm going to move on from here. The eligible schools, they participate, they have to serve, as I said, grades 2 to 5. And submit an application by January 1st, 2027. Include a statement explaining an intended use of grant funds. So it's not just that we're giving money, but they have to invest also. So they have to put money in if they want their students to participate in this program. And there is a fiscal note that should be attached. And I was very modest, I was told, and I really wanted to do it that way, just so if the individuals in the schools did not take advantage of it, we are not wasting funds. We are being fiscally responsible. So I asked for $2 million, and that would be each year for all the schools that would decide, because they opt in. They have to opt in, and the students would be. But I think we're going to advance that amount and the numbers that are going to participate. Because once students find out this is at their disposal and the teachers, they're going to jump in and get on board with this. And again, literacy, reading and writing at an early age, grade 2. And also, I have grandchildren that are in the school system. So, and they are starting. Oh yes, I don't look that old. But I do, and I'm so excited
She's so
because I can see now the desire that they have to excel. They want to write, they want to read, they want to explore what they feel. And so I think this program would definitely help all of our young people. So also, as I said, it establishes this State Board of Education will have the responsibilities, and they're on board with that. Establish the program, pilot program, set participation criteria, create reporting requirements, and promulgate the rules and regulations. And also develop application process, October 1st, 2026. Monitor and assess program annually, submit annual reports beginning January 1st, 2028. And as I said, the accountability and reporting, participating schools must comply with reporting requirements, annual program assessments conducted by the Department of Education, reports provided to the State Board of Education each year.
Where's the book at?
It's down.
The principal has got it. Thank you.
If you like,
Oh, I
Mr.
see.
Chair, you could
Right here
keep
on
that one.
front page. That's your
That
granddaughter?
is her, and if
That's
you look
granddaughter?
on the back of the book, it's in, if you open the back, her picture should be there. I would not have chose that picture, but
Oh, oh, it's a
she
beautiful
did.
little girl.
And the person that wrote the book.
Yeah.
And they both were here when we presented on the floor of the
Well, thank
House, and the
Turn
parents.
that one, sorry. We didn't mean to hoard it.
So-
Any questions to the author? You know, it seems like every time we turn, we finding out we really have underestimated a lot of our children, haven't we? And all we gotta do is give them opportunities.
Yes.
Senator Sims.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question, Representative Bazemore. So is this a program designed by an outside vendor? I'm not sure.
So it could be. This person that I was talking about, Stan Tucker, he is an outside
Stan
agency.
Tucker.
Right, and he's the one that did the presentation at Trillard that I heard, and he has the whole program where he travels. But it's up to us to choose who we want.
Thank you.
I would refer you to him, 'cause he's excellent, he and his team.
Well, thank you, ma'am. No other questions. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you
for
so much.
Thank you
and
for your enthusiasm too, for this.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, you can keep the book if you'd like.
Senator Hatchett's got several small children. I think it. Yeah.
You need
So
it?
we're gonna donate it to Senator Hatchett.
Okay, and if my granddaughter would be back down, now she goes to cashier. But she can sign it for you.
She's very talented.
Yes, she is. She made the dean's list. Thank you again.
Yes, ma'am. You're very welcome. Thank you. That was an exciting time in the House this morning, wasn't it? to be over there. It was incredible. Yes, ma'am. Incredible testimony. I mean, what we're doing what the General Assembly is doing for literacy in Georgia just blows your mind. There's so much emphasis on it. Senator Settler, please come forward. Now, this is something other that Senator Settler and I have been talking about actually probably for a couple of years now, and we wanted to move forward, but we also know that in order for this to happen, and he and Dr. Jody Barrow with the Professional Standards Commission are actually talking now. So this is just another hearing on this, but I thought that it's very important for all of us to know with the teacher shortage we've got other professionals out there that probably could step into the profession if they meet certain standards. So, Senator, please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, pleased to bring before you Senate Bill 484. I'm calling this experience-based teacher accreditation. What this really is it recognizes there's great educators educating kids across our state in our private institutions and in our institutions of higher education who might like to teach in our public schools but are prohibited from doing that because you could have been a calculus professor at Kennesaw State University for 10 or 15 years and you couldn't darken the door of a calculus classroom down the street at Kennesaw Mountain High School because you're not a accredited teacher. Likewise, there's teachers who are phenomenal teachers in some of the best private schools in the southeastern United States who, again, because they don't have teacher accreditation through a traditional process, could never teach in public schools. I was having this conversation recently, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to share some anecdotes. I was just happened to be having lunch with my local college president, Dr. Swag. I don't want to bring her into this beyond just this conversation that she and I had. She was the dean of the School of Business at Kennesaw State, noted scholar, PhD in business school, head of our business school. She's the president of KSU. I said, Dr. Swag, you couldn't go down the street and teach at Kennesaw Mountain High School because even though she has a PhD, everything that gets you to teaching in Georgia requires a 30-hour Master of Arts in Teaching, or approximately 27 hours of undergraduate training in specific education courses during your undergraduate program to get teacher accreditation. So I want to share that with you. So it is roughly 27 hours while you're an undergrad to get a social studies teaching degree to go launch as a bachelor with a bachelor's degree into teaching. If you're teaching at the elementary school level, it's about that many classes. If you come through and get a history degree or a physics degree and you've not been accredited as a teacher, there are pathways that they can bring you in to teach on a kind of on a provisional basis, but every one of those pathways requires, as part of that 3-year pathway, you go get a 30-hour Master of Arts in Teaching to be able to teach. This bill rejects the premise that a 30-hour separate Master of Arts in Teaching is essential to teach our kids, and recognizes if you've been teaching for 4 years at the university level or 4 years at the private school level, 6 hours of specific focused, 6 credit hours, college credit hours of specific focused classes, or 80 professional hours would qualify you after having met the standards. And I'll walk through the standards, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay with you.
Please.
But for members of the committee, beginning on line really 23 of the bill, again, what this lays out, actually beginning on line 16 of the bill, the requirements are to be a teacher through an experience-based program. You have to have a bachelor's degree. We're not getting around bachelor's or higher degree. It could be a bachelor, master, or PhD degree. So there's an education requirement. And then 4 years of verifiable teaching experience. If you want to teach K-5, you have to have that 4 years experience in a K-5 setting. You couldn't have been a high school teacher and then go teach kindergarten. So it's K-5 to be a K-5 teacher, 6 through 12 or higher ed to be in middle school or high school in terms of your teaching experience. And pass the GACE test. You have to pass the GACE ethics test as any other teacher would. You have to pass the subject matter test. So you have to be an expert in your subject, just as any other teacher would. But in lieu of student teaching, and in lieu of that 30-year Master of Arts in Teaching, if you've been successful for 4 years in a private school environment, or in a university environment, or a technical college environment, anything post-secondary, technical schools, community college, private college, University System of Georgia System College, that experience plus the validation of a principal who wants to hire you. You don't have this automatically, but it's, as it says on line 23 of the bill, upon offer of employment by a local school system or public school, the commission shall issue a professional certificate based on your experience, your subject matter expertise, and that 6 credit hours of training. So it's 6 credit hours versus 30 credit hours if you have 4 years of experience. If you're coming in as a college kid with a physics degree or history degree, you have to go get your 30-hour Master of Arts in Teaching. But if you've been teaching in another setting equivalently for 4 years, the requirement wouldn't be 30 hours, it would be 6 hours, because you've had your student teaching equivalent. You've actually put together lesson plans. You've put together and delivered education in a setting. If you do it for 4 years, we deem that to have been enough experience to prove your success at what you're doing. This allows us to bring teachers from our private schools who may want to teach in the public schools, who right now would be prohibited from doing that. I'll share some examples, Mr. Chairman. You think about rural communities. You know, how many calculus professors do they have in rural Georgia? Well, down the street in the technical colleges, somebody can teach advanced math. Someone who teaches advanced math in our technical colleges are not accredited to teach in our high schools. Why would we turn them away, even if they've been teaching 10 or 15 years? Without going through the accreditation process, which every single time is going to require that 30-hour Master of Arts in Teaching, why wouldn't we let them teach our kids if they've demonstrated success elsewhere, in other settings? That's what this bill's about. It recognizes there's professionals that want to teach in our public schools. We see see folks, as we see now, the average teacher's teaching 4 to 5 years and they leave. We're seeing teachers leave our public schools to go to other settings. Why don't we create a pathway for folks who are in other settings to come to our public schools? I know this is something that Senator Beach, before he was the Treasurer of the United States, was very, very passionate about. His wife wanted to be the business teacher at Roswell High School, and had great experience to do that. She was turned away, and I'm not picking on Fulton County schools. It was just a matter of fact. And after really trying to teach at the public school level, said, I'm going to go on the street. I'm going to help launch a private school. She taught in a private school setting for years, raised millions of dollars for them as a fundraiser in addition to her teaching role, and was really thrived in that setting. This is a person whose first desire was to teach in the public school setting, but was not willing to say, I'll take another 30-hour master's degree. My MBA should be good enough. With teaching experience. And that's what this says. It's let's recruit people from our great private schools and from our universities into our public school system who want to teach there.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Let's take an example. Okay, let's take Senator Hatchett as an example. He graduated Georgia Tech, got a Juris Doctorate degree from University of Georgia, and wants to go back to a high school in Habersham County and teach civics class. Can he do that?
I personally think he ought to be able to. No, this bill doesn't fix that. This bill says if he's done all those things and he's taught for 4 years at the university level, so let's say he taught at the University of North Georgia, he taught government civics for 4 years at North Georgia, he could do this. This bill still requires him to have 4 years of experience.
But now he has not taught anywhere. He's practiced law for all these years and all that, but he's obviously got 2 degrees. Mm-hmm. So right now he cannot go back into his local high school and teach a civics class or civics classes. Is that correct?
Well, correct. What they would say is they'd welcome him there, but they put him on a provisional pathway where over the course of the next 3 years he'd have to go back and earn a 30-hour Master of Arts in Teaching to be able to do it.
That's what I'm asking.
I reject the premise that you ought to do that. If he's been teaching it at Georgia State Law School or some other setting, 4 years in the classroom ought to be able to qualify you to sidestep a 30-hour Master of Arts in Teaching.
Yeah, but right now, the fact he hadn't taught anywhere,
correct.
He's got under his current law, he's got to have 30 hours.
Yes, sir.
Senator Sims, what's your former retired educator? You got any comments about that? Or number?
It is kind of narrowly tailored to.
Talk in your microphone, please.
I did have my light on, didn't I? I'm sorry. I would wonder why you're framing your bill so narrowly to just include, I think, an individual that has been on, had a successful career as a lawyer, done all of these things, should be able to go into the classroom and teach without having to do all of those 30-some hours. But they should have some kind of educational experiences through academia to teach them how to work with children. I think that's very important, as well as there's a special education part of it that also goes along with it. That too should be a part of the that new curriculum for that person that wants to teach.
And can I speak to?
But what I'm worried about is there seems to be this, we're opening it up for private school teachers to come back to public schools. Is it for that? Is that your aim? You know, because I'm real suspicious about this kind of stuff when I start hearing it.
Sure.
Is that your goal, or is it we're truly opening it up to help with the teachers that we don't have, that the lack of professionals that we need in the classroom? Have we talked to PSC? Have we talked to USG's educational departments? Because that's where the problem really lies. How we are turning teachers out, how many we are turning out. Because we have a whole lot of kids that sign up to teach, you know, to major in it, but they don't get out of college, and they change their majors a lot.
Sure.
So I'm
Well, that's exactly the reason we're having a hearing today, because of, he and I agreed that there's more work got to be done, but we wanted people to be aware of there's a potential pathway.
Yeah.
And Dr. Barra, yes, sir, you go.
I'd
Go
like to
ahead,
address
yeah. Let me hear what you-
Senator, thank you for your question. If I could direct you to the exact point you made on line 16 through 20. The 6 hours I was talking about is, if they've got this 4 years of experience and the degree, it says 3 semester hours is essentially a pedagogy professional practice. It's pedagogy, it's science of reading, evaluation, ethics, classroom management, professional practice.
special education, yeah.
So that's 3 hours. The other would be on child adolescent psychology, development, special education. Those core things that are in statute now, they're captured in those 6 hours. What's not in there is the other classes that they train people who've never been in a classroom before, kids coming through school to kind of prepare them. We have the 6 credit hour core, but the other things, the student teaching is considered to be done. That's what this is about.
One last question, Senator Parent, is that you?
Yes,
And
thank you,
This
Mr.
will be the
Chairman.
last question. We need
Sure.
to move out.
Sure thing. Senator Setzler, thanks for bringing the bill. I seem to remember when Senator Beach was talking about this issue, that you could teach for 5 years
Yeah.
before there was like a provisional that it would
Provisional.
only last 5 years?
It's I said 3, it may be 5, but in that period of time, you've got to go get this 30-hour
3
MAT.
years. I
Oh,
think
it's
3
3, okay, and I
it's
just
3.
had 5 in my head
thought it
from
was 3,
when
yeah.
Senator Beach talked about it. Okay, thanks for clarifying.
It's 3 hours, and I would just share with you, I know private school teachers right now who have, their average scores on their AP classes are 4.5, the 4s and 5s of their classes. They have 10 years of teaching. They have Master of Arts, they have MEds, but not Master of Arts in teaching. They would have to go back and get another master's degree to get in the classroom, but they're teaching in the private school setting because they can't get in our public schools. I think we ought to be able to open the door to them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Great conversation. I really appreciate y'all engaging in conversation. So, Senator, we're looking forward to you talking to Dr. Barra and y'all get some of this work out. Thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you.